Welcome back to the Explainer. So, I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine this incredibly cinematic, ultra realistic stone statue of Marcus Aurelius, or really any great Roman philosopher. Picture it bathed in high contrast monochrome lighting, surrounded by heavy shadows, giving off this super moody, dark academia aesthetic. The storm is literally raging around it, but the statue? It's completely unmoved, untouched. That, right there, is the ultimate image of power. But look at how we actually live today. We kind of operate on pure autopilot, don't we? Someone insults us, and boom, we react. Someone questions us, we immediately start explaining ourselves. We're just constantly in this state of reaction, letting external forces completely dictate our internal weather. Well, today, we are going to look at some source material that flips this entirely on its head. We're going to break down Machiavelli's laws of untouchability and figure out how to build that quiet, stoic fortress of self-mastery for ourselves. Okay, let's dive into this. The source material frames your attention, and specifically your emotional reactions, as a literal piece of your piece. And when you react, you are basically just handing that piece over to others on a silver platter. Seriously, every single time you engage with unnecessary drama, you are essentially saying to them, "Here, take my power." But what if you just didn't? To get to that state of being completely unmoved, we're going to follow what you might call an ascension arc. We'll start with the currency of attention, move into the weapon of silence, then erasing the unworthy, building the armor of indifference, and finally we'll reach the power of calculated inaction. All right, stage one, the currency of attention. The text makes it super clear that your attention is literal currency. Think about it. If you throw it around carelessly, you're going to end up psychologically broke. Truly powerful leaders don't just spend their attention. They treat it as a high-value investment. So whenever you're tested, you have to stop and ask yourself, what am I actually getting in return? When a toxic person tries to stir up drama or someone blatantly disrespects you, what's your go-to move? Most of us waste hours, right? We sit there crafting the perfect cutting comeback in our heads or on our phones. And what do we get back for all that effort? Absolutely nothing. Nothing but stress, frustration, and a whole lot of wasted time. Honestly, it's just a terrible emotional investment. You can really see the contrast in behavior here. Most people react instantly. They're always available to absolutely whoever demands their time. But power players, they use strategic withdrawal. By being highly selective with your presence, you instantly create scarcity. If you're always there, always replying within seconds, people take you for granted. You become the backup plan. But if you withdraw strategically, you suddenly become a mystery. People actually start valuing your presence because, well, it's no longer guaranteed. Which brings us to stage two, the weapon of silence. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it flips our normal instincts. We are totally conditioned to think that if we don't respond, we somehow look weak, like silence means surrender. But the text argues that silence is actually the most aggressive move you can make, and it's all because of what it calls the mind-breaking effect. See, human beings are hardwired for closure. We desperately need to understand cause and effect. So when someone attacks you and you give them absolutely nothing back, no reaction, no anger, literally just silence, you deny them that closure. Their brain just short circuits. They go into absolute overdrive trying to figure out why you didn't react, essentially fighting this frantic, exhausting battle inside their own head while you aren't even on the battlefield.
And beyond just messing with their head, silence offers a massive tactical advantage. It gives them absolutely nothing to twist or exploit against you. Think about it for a second. Every single word you speak in anger or defense, that is free ammunition for your enemies. It shows them exactly where your buttons are and what gets under your skin. Silence, on the other hand, gives them zero emotions and zero information. It leaves them completely, utterly powerless. Okay, moving into stage three, erasing the unworthy.
The source material describes this phase almost like a purge. It is the ruthless but incredibly quiet removal of specific types of people from your life who are just draining your power. It categorizes these unworthy folks into three distinct groups. First up, you have the enemies, actively plotting against you. Trying to expose them or fight them publicly? Don't do it. It just validates them and gives them the stage they want. Second are the critics sitting on the sidelines. These are the people who never actually build anything, they just tear things down. Reacting to them just feeds them the attention they desperately need to survive. And third, and actually, this is probably the most insidious one, energy parasites disguised as friends. We all know one, right? That person who texts you a 10-paragraph crisis every single Tuesday, bleeding you completely dry of your emotional bandwidth while giving absolutely nothing in return. As the text points out, success doesn't argue with criticism, it makes criticism irrelevant.
Protecting your energy from those three types of people isn't you being selfish. The text insists it is pure survival. You don't fight these people, you literally erase them with complete, permanent indifference. You just stop giving them any piece of your life, period.
That leads perfectly into stage 4, the armor of indifference. Now, a really important clarification here. Indifference does not mean being cold or detached or like a robot with no emotions. Not at all. It means being so deeply secure in yourself that the external chaos of the world simply cannot penetrate your internal peace. It's about taking your control back. And here's the step-by-step on how you actually build that armor. First, you have got to identify your emotional triggers. What makes you instantly defensive? What sparks your anger? Because trust me, if you don't know your own triggers, your enemies definitely will. And getting angry just makes you predictable and super easy to manipulate. Step 2, stop validating those triggers by defending yourself. When someone hits a weak point, your immediate instinct is to explain yourself. You have to stop doing that. And finally, step 3 is to actively choose your internal response. You consciously decide that their opinion is irrelevant. When nothing external can control your internal state, you basically become impossible to break. Finally, we arrive at the 5th and ultimate state, the power of calculated inaction. So, from a young age, we are conditioned to believe that having power means doing something, fighting, achieving, reacting, always moving. But sometimes the most devastatingly powerful move you can possibly make is deliberately choosing not to make one at all. Calculated inaction is the strategic art of winning without fighting. And this brilliantly illustrates how it works. Let's use an example straight from the source. Imagine someone starts spreading malicious rumors about you. Your first instinct is absolute panic, right? You want to confront them, set the record straight, and exhaust yourself fighting this fake battle. But with calculated inaction, you do absolutely nothing. You just let the rumors run their course. You trust the truth to reveal itself while you keep your head down and just keep building your success. Eventually, the lies just collapse under the weight of reality, and you didn't waste a single ounce of your precious energy fighting them. Look at the mindset shift here. The old you would exhaust yourself fighting those fake battles. Let's say someone is actively trying to copy your style or compete with you at work. The old you would probably try to outdo them, maybe even changing your own path just to stay one step ahead. But the new you conserve your energy for things that actually matter. You ignore the copycat entirely. You don't even acknowledge that a competition is happening. By ignoring them, you completely shift the social balance without saying a single word. They're desperately out there trying to run a race against you, and you aren't even on the track. You attract through absence. You reign through silence. Let those words just sink in for a second. That is exactly how you become that unmoved, untouchable stoic we talked about at the beginning. But remember, the source material heavily emphasizes that these laws are utterly useless if they just stay as abstract theories. They only work if you commit to immediately changing your behavior in the real world. The very next time someone tries to bait you into an emotional reaction or demands an explanation that they haven't earned, you have to resist. You have to stop playing their game.
Which brings us to our final question to close out this explainer. Moving forward, will you continue to give away your power, piece by piece, to anyone who demands it? Or are you finally ready to become untouchable? It is time to build your own inner stoic fortress. Be selective with your presence. Guard your attention like it's the absolute most valuable thing you own. And remember, true power is quiet. Keep learning, keep building your armor, and I'll see you in the next explainer.